All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Discovering Lake County. I am in the basement of the Alamo today. I've never been down here. I'm at Pizzeria DeVille. JR, thank you so much for coming.
It's a cool spot, isn't it?
It really is.
Good place to have a private party, you know?
Yeah. I don't know because I've been here a bunch of times to have pizza, but never down here.
Yeah.
What kind of events do you do down here?
You name it, we've done it down here. Baby showers. Someone was just here for a funeral, unfortunately, this last week. So a little bit of everything in between, you know.
On a busy Friday or Saturday night, is this ever open for seating?
Oh, always.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. So we'll reserve like big parties down here first. And then other than that, we'll just use it as overflow seating as well. So,
nice.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we should start with I'm downtown Libertyville with JR Escobar. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Good. A little history, everybody. So about in April of 2024, we're doing a Libertyville show, and you and I sat down to talk about Pizzeria DeVille.
Yeah, my first podcast ever. It was a lot of fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That was super fun. So let's talk a little bit about the things that I took out of that I really admire about you that I want to make sure that Lake County knows about. Let's talk a little bit about your how you get into the restaurant industry and what your background is in pizza, and how do we get here today in a brief way, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, restaurants is all I've done pretty much ever. I've been very passionate about it. I think that the main thing that I take away from restaurants is team building. You know, I think that the team you surround yourself with and the people that you get on your team and support are probably the most important thing to success. So that's what I've always loved about it. I feel like it keeps me young too, working with kids and stuff. So
it is a cool thing, and I like how your team building, that your success of your restaurant depends on that, right?
Oh, it's everything.
How did you learn that?
I'd say trial and error. I think a lot of it was trying to focus on the goals and not the people and how they tie in together, and then not seeing the success in that, and then seeing that kind of change to where when I focus on the people and the team experience, that my guest experience improved, and then I realized how tied together those two things were. It's like you can't have this guest experience that's this high and then a team experience this high. It just doesn't work. They always coincide. So if you get that team experience up, that guest experience is always great, because those people are the people that are the face of your business, and they're the ones that are reaching out and touching the most guests there is. So
I like to think that, our friends and a big group of us, we talk about restaurant experience, right? So a place that you can go where you walk in the door and you're treated like family, and there's just a really good vibe about the place. And this place definitely has it.
I agree. I agree.
It's cool. And that comes from from you all the way down, and the way that you treat your employees.
Yeah. Right? There was a time in my career, when I was a young general manager, where I was working with an HR person. This kind of jogged my memory thinking about that, as she was quizzing me and trying to get me to think and kind of break through on my mentality. And she was like, what kind of business are we in, JR? And I named everything: restaurant, pizza, this, and that. And she's like, no. She's like, we're in the people business. We just happen to sell pizzas. And that was kind of the thing that kind of clicked to me. It's like, okay, so I focus on the team, and the rest kind of falls in place.
That's awesome. Yeah. So when you talk about that, let's because I know a little bit about it, but I want everybody to know. Tell us your background in pizza.
Yeah. I started my career at like 19 in pizza. I did some restaurants before that, but I spent 23 years with Pizza Hut. So I was in charge of like Lake and McHenry County area until like 2018, something like that is when I left Pizza Hut. Yeah. Then I decided I wanted to try something a little bit more, I wouldn't say hands-on, but from scratch. So I went to a place called Cafe Zupa's. I opened up the one in Deerfield and the one in Vernon Hills. Then COVID kind of hit. I took a year off after I was let go from there because I was kind of a high-salaried, newest general manager.
First one to go.
Yeah, first one to go. And then after COVID, Crumble Cookies was opening up in Milwaukee, and I had a tie actually to someone that I was with Cafe Zupa's that was moving over to Crumble to open up those stores, and then he brought me along over there.
Wow.
Yeah. So then I ended up taking over that market, and I ran it until just before DeVille. Actually, that was the reason that I left Crumble, was the opportunity to reopen DeVille.
Yeah. Okay. So It's really fun to hear you say. So you have a lot of experience, like through everything about opening someplace now.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now you're done with that, and you run into the opportunity because this place is legendary, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
So it closes down. Give us a brief thing about a little history of DeVille, and maybe some of your strengths coming in here about opening restaurants. But now you're opening for yourself. It's got to be really cool,
Yeah,
right?
it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah, it was. Me and my daughter started coming here. I was on a quest for like, what's the best pizza in Lake County? I'm going to be honest, like El Presidente from Barstool, Dave was a big influence of like, hey, I want to see what the good places are, and he hasn't really visited Lake County a lot. I don't think he's actually been in Lake County at all yet. So I went on the One Bite app. I saw that this place had probably the best reviews for One Bite, and we started coming here, me and my daughter. I thought it was good. And then being a restaurant guy, I'd come in and be like, hey, there's still some opportunities in this place, you know. I know at the end there, the previous owner, John, who's a really great guy, he was really passionate about it, but he had to step away from the business for a couple of years, and I think that lack of a leader, you know, you saw some of the things that could have been improved on. So in my head, I was like, you know, this is one of those places that if I ever have the opportunity, this is one that I want.
Yeah.
And then, you know, a couple months later, I read the story that it's closing down in an article, and it says the landlord's looking for a new tenant. I contacted the landlord, and she said John is interested in passing the recipes and the name on if anyone wants that as well. So it seemed like the right move, and here we are today.
Wow, and John Durney's a great dude.
Awesome guy.
Yeah. Everybody listening in Libertyville or anybody in the surrounding things, he's just a solid guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of a great guy that everything, like, you like the place, he's cool,
Yeah.
like everything kind of it was like almost meant to be, right?
Absolutely. And he's been a big supporter of us too, so we appreciate everything that he's done.
Nice. Does
for
he
us.
still come in and eat?
He does every occasion. Yeah.
That's cool. Looking for a place where there's always something happening? Welcome to the Grays Lake Village Center. Whether you're planning a family outing, a date night, or a fun night out with friends, the Village Center has something for everyone, year-round. Enjoy a fantastic mix of restaurants, unique retail shops, and exciting events that bring the community together. And just steps away, you'll find Central and Gelatin Parks, home of the library, aquatic center, skate park, senior center, and numerous recreational opportunities. Whew, that's a mouthful. So if you're looking for something to do, come explore, dine, shop, and play right here in the heart of Grays Lake. Find out more at grayslakevillagecenter.com. And go check them out on social media and give them a like, give them a follow. Okay, so with your experience of opening other places and you saw the opportunity here, I'm sure your vision with their recipes of pizzas, you must have been a fan too to carry on some of the things, right?
Yep. Yeah. And then we kept to the original recipes, and then we slowly just kind of developed them. I wouldn't say into our own, but you know, anything that we saw there was an opportunity to kind of update or make it better, we did. And I think that's been our customers have been telling us that, you know, they. I guess I've had everything from the response of it's like Pizzeria DeVille was in the heyday, or you know, we've heard everything.
Yeah. Okay. What's the when you come in to eat here the first time? Do you remember what pizza you had?
I did. It was the Ma Pie.
Yeah.
Yes. It's still one of the most popular pizzas we have. I mean, it's intriguing. You got spinach, fig jam, goat cheese, Romano, Fontina cheese, and then you know it's just a beautiful pizza.
All right. So since we're on the topic of most popular pizzas, so run down a couple other.
Pepperoni Douai, that's definitely number one. So that's two kinds of pepperoni. You got a jumbo pepperoni, a cup and char pepperoni, Romano mozzarella tomato sauce, and then it's finished off with hot honey. That's
Awesome.
definitely a popular one.
Yeah. That's you're making me hungry.
Right.
And what would you say one more would be? And then we'll move on.
I would say Mamma Mia, which is formerly called what was the name? Pride of the Yankees is what it was called before. I'm not a New York fan, so I wanted to change the name. So
if you were watching this, you can see his Bears hat on here. And I'm thinking you're a Cubs fan too, right?
I'm not a baseball fan in
Okay.
general, but if
Good.
I was, I would be a Cubs fan.
Okay, you made it around that block for me. Okay, so since we had spoken in April of 24, that was pretty new to you, right?
Absolutely.
So, what is your opening date that you start here?
We opened in February of 2024, February 9th.
It was fun because to see you now and to read all of your social posts and everything, to see how things have you made leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Right, in a year and a half, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think our social media presence and then what we do in the stores have definitely been like our daily focus.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. All right. So recently, so it's funny because spend half of my time on social media to post things to try to keep show out here as much. But where did the food truck come from? Like, how cool, and how do you do like wood fire? Is it wood fire pizza out
It's
of a
wood
truck?
fire. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
explain the whole thing.
Big old oven too.
Right.
So he had previously, John had, he called it the DeVille Road Show. He mainly focused, they did like lunch in the park and the farmer's market.
Just
They
locally.
Yeah, Bluffamania, Lake Bluff, and then they would do private parties.
Okay.
It was a smaller oven, and it was just like on a trailer, just the one oven, no enclosure or anything like that. So he did sell that before I got the opportunity to buy it. So I took that first year and just focused on the internals of the restaurant. And then my idea was that I was going to purchase something to get it back running up for this season.
Yeah.
And so we purchased it in December, got it wrapped and all that stuff. And it's a great trailer. We got a bread oven company out of Florida, so a U.S. company that makes that oven.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful oven. It's actually cooks wonderfully. The trailer itself weighs like 10,000 pounds with the oven. It's humongous.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, that's like just having a restaurant is enough, right? Hassle or
Yeah.
employees come in or everything the day to day. So adding this it's exciting, but I'm sure it's challenging as well.
Oh yeah, it absolutely has come with its challenges. So.
Okay, response when you got, because I just looked on the way here. I looked down your list of things.
Yeah.
Where is
Booked
it?
a lot. Yeah.
What in the hell are you doing? That's a
Trying to keep busy. Trying to keep busy.
Well,
Yeah.
I think you accomplished that.
And it's been a lot of fun getting our name out there. What I've noticed is we're going, even Tighthead Brewery, and people are like, "Oh, where's this place at?" So it's like there's people 4 miles away that don't know about Pizzeria DeVille. So, and they're enjoying it there, and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to see you at the restaurant." So,
Wow. It's kind of cool because it's advertised in a way, but it's another arm or finger of your business just to reach out.
absolutely.
But I'm sure that you have people that are like, oh man, DeVille, like
Yeah.
they can get that at a festival or something like
Absolutely. Yeah.
that. So are you doing a lot of fairs, or are these just mostly stopping at people's businesses?
We've been doing breweries. We've been doing like local festivals. We just did one in Mundelein, spring into summer,
Okay.
which is like it was at Tighthead, but the village uses their parking lot, and they had like a plant sale and a dog adoption. That was actually a great event for us as well.
Wow.
So we're trying to do some local stuff too, around like Heights Fest. So next year, I think this year was like discovering what's good for us, what things we could do with the communities, and then next year really just going to dial that in. And
Yeah. No, it must be fun. So how do you manage your time from being, well, you got one on the road and you have a busy day here?
I work all day, every day. That's how I manage it.
And if you don't see JR out a lot, now we know
Yeah.
we know why. But I do see every time to time at Jesse Oaks.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have to but you live close to.
I live like a block away from there. Yeah.
All right. So are you because it's Lake County show, you're born, bred, you know Lake County. You've been here your whole life?
Absolutely. I lived in, as a little kid, like Mundelein, Zion, Park City, and then my mom moved out to Round Lake when I was like 9 years old. So I grew up in Round Lake, went to Round Lake High School, and then I moved to Gages Lake in 2021, Grays Lake, Gages Lake, and I've been there ever since. I love that little community there. We've actually done a couple events there too. That's been super successful. So my neighbors have really been supporting us there as well. And then we have one on the 13th coming up with a musician where we're pretty much doing a little mini Wildwood Woodstock at a gas station. That's kind of exciting. I think it's going to get packed. I don't think that the
dude,
gas
I'm
station
coming.
knows what they're in for.
No, I'm coming too because it looks so funny. Was it like Wildwood?
Wild Woodstock. Yeah.
Wild Woodstock. Wonderful.
Yeah,
Did you
one
have-
food truck, one acoustic guitar, and a singer. Wild
One
Woodstock.
party.
Yep.
Right. That's fantastic. Is that your idea that you came up with?
So we did an event there. It was super successful. Megan Lick, who is the vocalist that's going to be singing that day, is from Wildwood as well. So she hit me up and said, "Hey, that event looks pretty good. We should do one where I perform." And I was like, "Okay, I'm talking to Mobile right now. Let's make this happen."
That's so fun. And if anybody knows that community or like where you drive by there, like it's a kind of a cool place to have
Yeah,
it, right?
absolutely.
Especially because you live over there.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. So you have roots kind of all over the place. So from out there, and then I want to talk about how because John Durning owning this restaurant, like he's a big personality, especially in this community
in Libertyville.
Yeah. So tell me how Libertyville has embraced you and about the town and maybe some things you've learned.
Yeah, Libertyville is such a wonderful community. I think that Even my daughter is like, yeah, this is a place that when I grow up, I think I want to live in this community right here. It's a wonderful place, beautiful downtown, a lot going on, and the community itself has been wonderful. So for DeVille's, they've embraced us 100%. Sometimes it feels weird just being like, I was always like the guy who was the GM, the kind of behind the scenes. And sometimes I'll walk in the door and I'll hear like a little kid, like, the owner's here. It's like, what?
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
right?
It is kind of cool, but yeah.
That's awesome. So everything's been great, and the town embraces you. There's so many, just to touch on Libertyville a little bit, that people that don't frequent like downtown here. This is the place to be, and a lot of fun things to do.
When I think about Lake County, I mean, even in the northern Cook County, I think like Libertyville's number one. There's nothing that rivals it. Maybe Grace Lake is a number two, but I don't think that no one gets that quaint town with a happening nightlife, a happening food scene. If you really want to go in Lake County and get something upscale and delicious, it's a place to go.
Nice.
So I think that was our focus too on like reestablishing DeVille. It's like, how do we keep up with that? How do we get someone that loves the boardroom, that wants some one of their great dishes? How are we gonna rival that with pizza? And that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, because there are especially Milwaukee Avenue that runs through here. Without lack of better words, there's a lot of flavor in this town.
Yeah,
you can get a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Absolutely. And customers come in, and when they not familiar with Libertyville, I like to support those other restaurants too, and tell them, hey, my favorite taco place in Lake County is right down the road here, Milwaukee Taco. They might be our rivals, but really we're supporting each other. So right. It's important. Let them go there on Thursday and come here on Friday. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, how do we compete with tacos and pizza, right?
Right.
That's two of my favorite things.
100%.
That's for sure. One thing I took out of when we talked last April is the way that you described Lake County, and I thought it was fun because, and you can elaborate on it, but I think you said like going from one community to another community. It's like whether you're in Grays Lake and then you walk into the next town. It's like you keep finding these other towns.
Absolutely.
That are cool,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's like little towns, but stacked on each other,
Yeah.
So you think about like maybe when we first moved here in the 90s, it was like there was more separation of the communities, but they were even though it's kind of filled in, I feel like they've been able to keep their identity of each town, which is really great.
For sure.
Yeah, you get a different feel from Fox Lake than you do Libertyville, right?
Right.
But they're both cool.
Yeah. And one of the reasons, and starting to show that, that to do this podcast, which is all of Lake County, I think that people really need to realize how many great things are around them, right? If somebody's listening to the show in Wadsworth right now, to get to Libertyville, it's really short distance between everywhere we're at. So by exploring around and really taking advantage of the things that we have available to us.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not a city guy. I don't like to go downtown.
Yeah.
But we have enough around here that you can have a different experience every weekend, every day, really.
Absolutely. I love Lake County. I think it's the best county in Illinois. I can't think of another county that I think is as cool as Lake County. Yeah. So from one end to the other.
Right. And very unique business owners and people that are running stuff. Yeah. They're a lot of fun.
Except for, I love Gurnee too. I think there's a lot to do. One thing that surprised me about Gurnee is that there's not a lot of like local owners, That's one thing I would like to see different about Lake County. Is that hub should be more than just the big brands,
Yeah, and then once you get in that whole thing, right, and everything's, there's a lot of chain restaurants and everything, and I think the Mills probably attracts that, right?
Yeah, probably.
And with prices and leases and things like that, I'm sure it makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
I want to go back to the food truck for a little bit because it's so amazing because we see things, how they go in. Like, you talk about two things that I see that come in waves of popularity, right? Breweries.
Absolutely.
And food trucks. And right now, both of those are a big deal.
They are. They're popping pretty nicely.
Yeah. Did you do that? You didn't do the Lake County Food Truck Festival, did you?
We weren't able to get an application in time.
Gotcha. That place just seems like it's crazy.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I think so. I checked like 2 weeks before, and it wasn't open. And then I checked 2 weeks later, and it was closed and full. I was like, oh man, I missed it somehow or another. There.
It's hard to pull the trigger sometimes on things like that. What unforeseen challenges that you had with food truck? Because have you ever any food truck experience at all?
Never at all. Never at all. I wouldn't say anything has been overly challenging. I think for us it was right when the food truck started kicking off. Our business here started getting a lot busier, so I found my team a little stretched, so I had to hire on some people. I think I've hired on like 8 people in the last probably month and a half. So, I mean, that's a good problem to have, though.
Absolutely. As it seemed with restaurants, with everything else, that when it rains, it pours, right? Like either we have nothing, or it's like the food truck's booming, the restaurant's booming. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you get enough people to help?
Yeah. You know, one thing that I find as well that hasn't been difficult for me, even in my previous places, was finding help, which I feel blessed about that because I hear a lot of other owners say that the market is tough, this, and that. And I don't find it as tough. I find, like, if you go through your applications and you find the people that have the heart, and then you could train the skill, I think that that's always the way to go, and it's always served us really well. And then when we have that environment where people like to work and they're like, oh, this is the coolest job I had, this is the best management I've had, they just like to stay. So we don't find ourselves in that predicament of constantly, rotating doors of employees. So.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because everybody says there's no jobs out there, there's nothing. Well, with the work ethic these days, but what we used to do too, like running a DJ business, you hired really good people, right? Good people, and then we can teach them anything, right?
Absolutely.
With work ethic, but it takes a certain breed to work in the restaurant industry, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And you find, what I've found about the younger people, I think that people our age and people older kind of look at this new generation with a little bit of shame. And I don't really feel that way. I guess I like to look at perspective a lot and put myself in the people's shoes. And I think this young generation is more or less revolting against what our older generations have built. So they're like, I'm not going to, when we were young, we were like, you have to work, you have to do this, you have to put up with crap. That's just the way it is. And I think these young kids are like, I don't have to. I'm going to do something I like. If you want me to put my time and effort into something, it has to be something that I'm enjoying, or else I'm just not going to do it. And I respect that.
I love that perspective, because there's a lot of very good things that come with that. That people don't want to settle just to work, but they want to find something they want to do.
Absolutely, yeah. And it makes the business change, right? A lot of the businesses now are trying to cater that and figure out what they could do to attract those young, talented people that really can be passionate about something.
Right.
Hi, Jody St. Mars. I'm here with Educators Advantage today because we are sponsoring Teacher of the Month. Do you know a teacher that needs a little extra love and support this time of the year? Of course you do. Nominate your teacher that has gone above and beyond. Click the link below, fill in their information, and they will be eligible to win some amazing prizes. Thank you to all of our educators out there that are doing the hard work each and every day.
And I love that you say that too, because finding those right people that have passion, that have heart. I hope that these people, 10 years from now, are going to be telling a story about how you influenced their choices on how to do business or how to treat people, or just to be a good human, and how to work in an industry that's tough. Right?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about my job. To be honest, through the years I've had, with being in the restaurant business for 30-something years, I've had a lot of people from the past that are now, I hired this one kid who was 16 years old, his first job ever. He's still with that same job, and now he's a district manager. And I hired him as a phone person, in like 2006 or something, like maybe 2004. Yeah.
Wow. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Wow. So, and it seems like this is the kind of place, like it compare with places that are very unique. Like the people that work here, it's like family, right? And I'm sure as they go on and they leave here to go to college or whatever they're doing, to take another jobs, that place they can come back and be welcomed with open arms.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of seasonal people that come that maybe come home from college?
We do. Yeah. Well, right now I think it's just 2 right now that are back from college, but yeah.
One thing that I really admire about you also is that, for getting to know you a little bit better, is to run a business like this, but also be an awesome father. Because you talk about your daughter, so finally it's just, you light up every time you talk about your daughter. Now, last time we spoke, I think she was getting ready or deciding on colleges, so tell me a little bit about her.
Yeah, she went to Iowa State University in Ames, yeah.
Nice.
Beautiful little town there. So she wanted that college feel, like a big college campus, but every college we visited was attached to a big city. So that's what really sold her on Ames, was like, hey, I could get that college experience without like having without having a crackhead on campus,
Or not visible once
yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
But that's cool. How was that decision to make?
She knew it right away. The first time she pulled up to the college, she knew that's where she was going. And financially, it made a lot of sense. They had like all their scholarships were based on academics, and she was a really good student, so she got the biggest out of state scholarship. She just joined a sorority this year, so she's living it up.
Okay, so how's it being dad? Because I know you guys are close. How's it being dad and watching her go away?
It was a little strange at first, I would say, but seeing her kind of blossom and grow and experience things on her own has been, it's been awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool thing as a dad to watch them succeed like that as well, and being a good role model for her as well.
Yeah. And when she comes home, she wants to hang out with me, right? Because she missed me. So that's
there's a novel idea, right?
Yeah.
Your kids coming home from college want to hang out with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And she works here too. So
she does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. It's funny to see the different circles that you and I run in and how they overlap too.
Oh,
like people that I know that like, wait a minute, you work over there or you do this? It's really cool. Okay, from last time, we take a pause with everything and we do something we call the Lake County Hot Seat.
Okay.
And so we get to know the chair just a little bit better. So I'm recording on my phone today, so I don't even have a list of them here. So we're going to just go. Hopefully none of these are too redundant for you. Lake County Hot Seat. First car you ever had?
Well, Toyota Corolla, but it was like the hatchback one.
Oh yeah, that was
like
cool.
an '86. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's a hot car.
Yeah.
That's a hot car. Okay, so this is one thing I do remember about you. Like, so first concert.
I think that was it Korn? I think was my first concert. Yeah.
Okay, so let's tell what kind of music do you listen to?
I love metal, but I'm a rock fan in general. But I love hip hop too. But definitely I lean towards like metal. Everything from like Nirvana to like extreme stuff like Pig Destroyer. So
really,
everything in between.
Did you say Pig Destroyer?
Pig Destroyer. I love that name, so I throw that one out there.
I wonder how they came up with that name.
Right.
Maybe they just eat a lot of ham. Tell me a place that you'd like to travel that you haven't been.
I'd love to go to Japan. I think that would be a cool place to be. That the cities there look awesome, right?
Very, very cool. Yeah, a little like exotic places. I'm like, I would have to do a lot of research before I went.
And I'd love to go to Asia in general. So I've always been like a fan of like karate, kung fu, stuff like that. So it'd be cool to see some of that stuff live.
Very cool. What impresses you about somebody when you meet them for the first time?
I love like a great smile. I love an infectious smile. I would say that's the first thing I notice. If someone's just generally have a happiness to them, I love that. Yeah.
Especially when they're a stranger and they don't have a reason to be smiling when they meet you, right?
Absolutely.
I love that. Here's a kind of a tougher one, but I think that tell me something that's happened to you bad in your life that you thought was bad at the time, but maybe turned out really good in your favor.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind was being let go at Cafe Zupas. To me, that was like a big hit at that time. It was like, you gave up a 23-year career where you're a district manager to step down and be a general manager, and then you get let go within a year,
cool.
Because of things that were totally out of your control. I'd say that was a rough one. And I remember even during that COVID time, maybe having a little bit of depression, kind of the turn of events. And then the fact that the guy that let me go is the guy who hired me on to Crumble, I thought was pretty excellent. He's like, I remember what you did. And I remembered because he took over my store afterwards because he was a district manager and they had the district managers running the store so they can cut that salary. He's like, your store was excellent, so I want you on this new team to help us grow Crumble. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you left on good terms with everything too,
absolutely.
Which is wonderful. That's just another thing, I think, lesson to everybody listening, right? We work hard, you do your best, and sometimes things fall into place, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, so how about something that you wish you learned sooner in life?
I would say in my career-wise, I definitely wish I learned that lesson about how important the team is and the people you surround yourself with. I got to learn it early in my career, which is great, but I wouldn't have had those struggles at the beginning if I didn't know that lesson right away.
Right.
So I try to teach that one of my junior managers first thing.
And it seems like that's been a big key to your success as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's the biggest key to my success for sure.
I love it. Last thing you searched on Google?
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, it was probably like the last thing was probably looking at our reviews.
Right.
I always like to check those and see if we got any new ones,
Sure. Last thing you purchased on Amazon?
Literally, I just purchased something on Amazon. What was it? I think it was something for the food truck. I can't remember what I.
But it's for business. It wasn't something
Yeah,
fun
absolutely.
for yourself. That always cracks me up.
I remember what it was. It was
what was
chalk. It was chalk for our sign. We have a new chalkboard sign.
Really?
We're going to start using. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to pause for a second. There's two things you brought to light that I want to talk about. A, with the chalk for the sign, I want to talk about you guys have an awesome lunch special. Like if you're coming through Libertyville and you want to eat good, tell us about your lunch special. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. All you can eat cheese, pepperoni, and or sausage slices, and a salad for only $13.
Yeah, and the salad is big enough just for me to eat, and I would have been
Absolutely.
fine. Salad and one piece of pizza on it for $13.
Yeah. And our salads are way underrated. So our salads are excellent.
Love it. I'm taking one home today.
Yeah, good.
For sure. What else did you say? You said something in there that really reminded me, like from the. We'll come back.
Okay.
I'll pause on that one. You've opened the business. You've got the food truck rolling. Like, what does the kind of the future look like? Do you have any other big aspiration that you want to do with DeVille?
I want to keep on just chugging away with the restaurant and the food truck and really establish those two things. Mm-hmm. And then, to be honest, in the back of my head, I've always wanted to see DeVille kind of go past just Libertyville. I'd like to see us in another community eventually and bring in our unique pizzas there as well.
I think that would be really, really cool. And that would be taking on a big task to see if the concept right here would work, but I'm sure that it would.
I don't think most people know, but we have 56 different specialty pizzas here at DeVille between our wood fire and our Detroit style pizzas. So we've added a bunch of those. We have everything from chicken and waffle to the ones I mentioned earlier. So we have a bruschetta pizza that's absolutely wonderful. We have what's the other one that I just was thinking? Oh, a Euro pizza now.
What?
Yeah, it's great with fresh made tzatziki sauce on top. Yeah,
Really?
it's wonderful. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you come up with these things? Are you just laying in bed one night and you wake up and we got to make this?
Yeah, sometimes I just come up with them, and to be honest, a lot of them. Sorry about the noise. I know they're starting to open up here.
Keep them busy.
Yeah. The other one is it comes from the team. Sometimes I'll just be like, hey, what ideas do you have?
Okay.
They'll come up with it, and if it's great, we just run with it. So.
Have you had any that you put out there that just nobody bought? Have you had something too crazy?
So I would say one of the underrated pizzas that we have added to the menu that I haven't seen as many is our chicken parmesan pizza. So
that sounds wonderful.
Fried chicken, like 6 kinds of cheeses on it. It really, you taste that whole parmesan experience just in a slice of pizza. It's great.
Yeah, if you're listening right now and you're not hungry, there's something wrong. There's something really wrong with you. Okay, 56 kind of pizzas.
Yeah. Yes.
How fun! That's going to be great. So and everything.
I try to remember all those as a cook.
Yeah, right. I'm sure. But keeping everything like fresh, obviously, one thing I know about you and the way you just was like all the ingredients are super fresh, right?
Absolutely.
You can expect that experience when you come.
Even when we're slow in the morning, as you hear back there, these guys are busting their hump, making fresh product for the day. So
that's great.
Yeah.
That's really fun. So when people come in, the thing I like about you're not just a place where everybody gets the same thing, right? So it's just not pizza after pizza after pizza. Like, while it's probably challenging for your cooks, right? But kind of cool to when somebody orders like one of their favorites or something to kind of put it together.
Definitely.
Oh, so one of the times I came in, I was sitting, there's new customers that were next to me. And just to hear their banter back and forth about what they should try or what, it's hard for me to come here. How do you decide on one pizza? So you usually get at least 2, right? You have to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's fun too because I think restaurants try to stay away from large menus, but I feel like even though ours is very big, it's pizza. It's like one big list of wood-fired pizzas, so it's just the variety of that one particular item,
Yeah, because I always watch the things like don't go to a restaurant that has too big of a menu because they can't specialize in one thing, right? But pizza's
absolutely.
Your ingredients are fresh.
Yeah, and our dough, which is the base of everything that we do here, I think is excellent. So we perfected that, and then we're able to just add those fresh ingredients on top of it.
So what makes it special for pizza to be wood fire pizza? Like, what's the difference between that and going somewhere else?
I would say. First of all, the heat of the oven makes it cook different, so you get that puffier crust, you get that crispiness on the outside, you're able to keep that soft inside as well, and you get that little char, which is to me is wonderful.
Adds a little bit more flavor to things, right?
And then our Detroit style pizzas, I think, are special as well. You get that caramelized cheese on the outside. That's just so tasty. I mean, who doesn't like kind of crispy cheese, you know?
Yeah, so no matter what kind of pizza I'm looking for from Wood Fire Pizza, this is the place to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Detroit style pizza is so good too.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you decide? Because I'm sure with those 50 plus different pizzas, you probably have 30 in your mind that you could do, right?
Oh, yeah. There's a bunch more on deck. Yeah, a bunch more.
Do you like rotate through like specials for the month, or you just kind of keep everything just kind of running?
Right now, everything's on our main menu. We have like 8 pizzas on deck that we're probably going to roll out as a limited time menu, and that's the one that we'll probably rotate over.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about in the truck? How many options do you have at a normal plate?
I think it's about 8 pizzas that we do on the truck.
Oh.
Yeah. So no Detroit style, just wood fire, and we keep it. I mean, we have 1 make table there as opposed to 3 that we have here. So we definitely can keep all the ingredients that we have. Plus, it would be kind of crazy to, sell 1 pizza of something and have those toppings on deck. But
right. And the one thing about having a truck, I'm sure, is you have to be time and speed is probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to keep people happy, right?
We have a really cool, we really went all out on the truck. It looks good. We got the great oven. We have the excellent make side where we make all the pizzas. And then, we invested in a really awesome POS system that, especially like we're at a brewery, we have QR codes on our menu. The person could hit the QR code. They could order right from the bar. They don't have to get up and leave their beer. And then it texts them when it's done to pick it up. So I thought that was it fit in really nicely, even for festivals, right? Pizzas can take 10, 15 minutes sometimes. Yeah. And, they could walk around and my pizza's ready. Let me head back to the truck,
Okay, I love that you don't have to wait around right there. Because how many people stand around a food truck just waiting for their food, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow. Have you ran into the situation yet where you're too busy when you're like, people got to wait, like just totally kicking ass as fast as you can?
We really got our that Mundelein event that we recently did, we really got busy during that time, and I don't think any pizza went over 20 minutes during that time. So
wow, that's great.
We try to staff it right. I think one thing that I've noticed about food trucks is maybe it's different for us because we have the restaurant to help support us, but a lot of people are on their own and it's their only source of income. So they kind of want to do it on their own because, they have to, But me, I have a team at my disposal, so I could be like, okay, this is going to be a bigger event. Let me make sure that I staff it accordingly so that we can meet everyone's expectations.
Yeah. Because when you go to a festival and everything like that, I think people expect more of a faster service, right? Not a fast food, but somewhere in the middle of fast food and restaurant experience, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's going to be cool. So one of my friends, Jason, who runs Dog and Suds in Grace Lake, talking about the experience of these young kids like running a food truck like at these festivals. And it sounds like from what he shares with me, like what a great experience for workers, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, everyone, they want the truck. They're like, hey, can you put me on the truck?
Right.
They all want to be on it.
I'm sure they could be out in the public. They can be outside. Well, kind of. It's got to get hot in there, though.
So luckily we haven't. I mean, we're just getting into June, right? So I'm sure we have hot days ahead of us.
Right.
But one thing that because our trailer is like a pull up, open it up, and we work outside of it. We're not like inside the truck.
Gotcha.
So one thing that was really challenging, it was early in the season, like the wind and the rain. We got some tents, but we're out there. Stretching pizzas from scratch. So we're using cornmeal and flour. That's like blowing in our face. And the cook's handing me over the pizza, put it in the oven, and pepperoni's blowing off of it because there's like 20-mile-an-hour winds. There was a couple times where we're like, man, what is going on?
Right. There's a test for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't think about like the different weather conditions and having to do that, right?
Huge, yeah.
Wow. Well, and I'm sure that the worse the weather gets, at least there won't be as many customers standing in line for it too. So
yeah,
which
is nice. They can wait in their car because then we'll just shoot them a message when it comes out the oven.
What has been the most success with the food truck for you? Obviously, the festivals are good, but going to like a brewery or something, that's got to be kind of cool.
Breweries have been great for us. Phase 3, Tighthead, and Harbor Brewing are the ones that we're at the most. Mm-hmm. We're doing the beer garden on 4th of July in Winter Harbor. We're excited about that one. I think that
should be really cool.
Too. Yeah.
What a cool place to hang out there, too.
That's awesome.
one another, like, people don't know anything about that. When I went there, I was like, this is awesome. Yeah. Right? It's a cool place to hang out.
Here's an unknown perk. If you're a food truck at a brewery, they give you free beer.
Really?
Yeah. They ask you right away.
Now I'm wondering why it's so successful for you to be at these breweries, right?
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I got a couple guys that we should be hooking up.
Absolutely.
For certain. You don't strike me as a big drinker, though.
No, not really. But I mean, it's when you go to a brewery, it's a lot of fun. And do we have some excellent breweries in the area? Excellent.
It is unbelievable how many there are.
And how good they are. You get us. It's like I can only get this beer here at this place, and it's excellent. And then this one has this excellent beer. It's wonderful.
I never knew anything about the craft beer stuff, and after talking to Josh from Black Lung and some other, and did a big brewery panel of all these guys. It's a science, and these guys are so geeked out about beer, which is it's fun.
And unfortunately, we can't do Black Lung. I wanted to get in there as well. Josh seems like a really cool guy.
Great dude.
A lot of, me being from Round Lake, a lot of my friends love Black Lung.
Yeah.
But because they have a no pizza clause, because of the plaza, there's another pizza place.
Oh, yes,
so they can't invite a pizza food truck.
Interesting. Now I was going to say, why aren't you there? But now I know.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of alcoholic beverages, come to DeVille. Just beer, full menu. What can you expect drink-wise here?
We have a nice list of wines. We have a full bar. I wouldn't say it's the biggest bar, but we make do with what we have. And we have almost all our beers craft beer. So I think 60% of our beer are local craft beer. So we have Tighthead Phase 3. Looking at adding a couple more. We probably need a little bit more cooler space. But I love supporting the local businesses as well. So that was kind of the idea. Not only even on our beer menu, but our barbecue sauce is from a guy in Chillicothe that's award-winning barbecue sauce. We get all our maple syrup for our drinks and for our chicken and waffle pizzas and a couple of things that we do from a place that harvests and makes all their maple syrup in Brookfield, Wisconsin.
Really?
Even our soda is from Swanell, which is America's oldest family-owned soda distributor. So they make and manufacture and distribute their own soda.
Very cool.
When we set up, that was a big focus. It's how do we make this a combination of all these great businesses that we're surrounded by in our area.
I appreciate that about you, and I wish more people would do that as well. It's a very cool thing. So my little guy comes here, and he loves the refresher, or what's the big another thing that's not faddish, but tell me, because that's something unique that you do too.
Yeah. So it's almost like a old school soda jerk kind of thing where we just combine flavors and make, you could say mocktails. I don't really consider them non-alcoholic drinks. I consider them more upscaled, non-alcoholic drinks.
Yeah. Well, and when you come to have a good meal and you come to have tasty pizza, that you need something good to drink, whether it's a craft beer that's fresh out of there or one of the whatever they're mocktails, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel you see it with Starbucks. There's starting to be a lot of popularity with the young kids, and now Seven Brew has really proven that that's a good model to have. And I think that out west it's huge. Yeah. So you go to Utah, Arizona, you see places like Swig and So Delicious. That's all they do. And
really,
there's lines. The drive-through line is in the morning. You go to Utah and go to Swig, and it's longer than any line you've seen for a Starbucks or something else out here. Yeah, it's the thing out there.
Wow! And when you said Seven Brew, even the Seven Brew over on Rollins Road,
huge.
That place is packed all the time. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's a need for it. Right?
Absolutely. And I got to see Seven Brew. They were in Milwaukee over the last couple of years, so I know we're finally getting in Lake County. But I've seen them. Have lines like that in every single place in Milwaukee area. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I love that you're the way that you run everything here. That you know what's going on, right? You have your finger on the pulse of what people like, right? From
Absolutely.
The pizzas to salads to the drinks and everything. I really enjoy that you guys have a full bar here, because some of the places we go, whether you if I just drink cocktails, if I just want a vodka and soda with lime, or if I want to have a refresher, I want to have a cold beer. It seems like you have all your bases covered with that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really cool. And I'm sure it's fun to watch your crowds come in here, and from new people or people that are really faithful to you, to watch how different questions that people have to ask, right?
Absolutely. Cool. I think our focus has been kind of getting our reach out a little further than Libertyville.
Yes.
I think that John did a really great job of being a Libertyville spot and getting the love from the community here. But I really saw the opportunity, Libertyville's kind of a destination place. I have friends in Round Lake to Fox Lake to Lake Forest that come to Libertyville, and how can we get those people to see DeVille as one of those destination places?
Right. And I like it because it's a cool place to come on a Friday night. But me and my buddies, like, we want an affordable, awesome lunch. Like, how do you beat your lunch special?
Yeah,
It's great. It's really awesome. Okay, I want to touch on salads a little bit, and then I want to talk about some events that you guys have, because it seems like you guys always have something going on, which is cool. So salads, because they're huge, right? And
yeah,
I think
huge.
they're underrated.
We try to pile them up so that they look awesome as well.
Yeah.
I'd say our most popular one is chopped salad, and I'd say our sleeper one that's still pretty popular too is the Ma salad. So it has goat cheese, arugula, chopped romaine, a homemade balsamic vinaigrette, homemade toasted pumpkin seeds, basil, roasted onions, roasted red peppers, roasted sweet potatoes, and what else? Oh, broccoli, and then the goat cheese. Yeah, it's an amazing earthy salad. Just great.
That's fantastic. I love it. Because but I do want to touch on one thing, because when I hear you saying all these, like, I have friends that we come out to places and they're not all fancy. They don't want all that, all that stuff in there, or the pizzas they think maybe are too exotic. If you want basic stuff, you also have killer, just like pepperoni and cheese pizza, and regular salad things that anybody would enjoy.
A Caesar salad. I mean, even that we try to do right. We make it from scratch. The dressing's made from scratch every day. Even our croutons we make in house. Yeah, we don't buy them.
Wow, how cool is that? And I only say that because it's fun that I like to experience different things. Like, never go to a restaurant and eat the same thing twice is how I'm like. Let's try something different, right? Always expanding your horizons to see what you like. And it seems like you come from the same thing, that you're providing that opportunity for us to eat.
I'm not always like that myself, though. I'll get hooked on something and I'll go get that same thing over and over again at a place. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Besides DeVille, where do you go for pizza? In Lake County,
so one thing that I think is unique about DeVille is, like, you got a sea. There's just a sea of Chicago style thin crust and deep dish, and we're kind of different from that. And I grew up on. I'm not even going to say the word tavern style, because it's not. It's just thin crust to us, right? If we're from Chicago. I always say there's like a sea of Chicago pizza, and then there's DeVille, So it kind of makes us stick out.
Yeah.
So if I'm going for a thick crust, I love Wayne's Pizza. Their pan pizza there, that's like buttery, almost biscuit-like crust is so good.
Yeah.
For thin crust, I would like Wells Brothers in Racine. That's a great one if you want to travel a little bit. I would say locally, the best local spot to me, because I grew up in Round Lake, is Orlando's. Yeah, you get that thick crust, or their thin crust is nice and crispy, even though, like, they top their thin crust more than most other thin crust places. But I like that the integrity of the dough is still, nice and crispy too.
And at no other show are you guys going to listen to today where they talk about the integrity of the crust.
Right.
And only JR. That's awesome, though.
No flop, right?
Right, that you get to look right at. And I like that you call it Orlando's, because everybody else I know call it Orlando's forever, right? Interesting.
I grew up on that place. That was, since I was a little kid, I'd go get. I mean, I think that huge slice used to be like $1.50 or something like that.
Memories, right? But then they're a mainstay there. Sure.
And the booty sandwich there, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's
only around like to you when you say, I'm going to go eat a booty, do they know what you're really talking about?
I love it. Yeah, anywhere taken out of context there. Okay. Nightlife, reason for people to come here during the week. I always see you guys have all kinds of different things. So give us, like, what kind of things do you have?
We're up until 10 right now. So I would say we're partly in the nightlife. That's something that we probably want to explore a little bit more here in the future. Last year we tried to stay open a little bit later, but I think we were probably a little early to kind of the re-rise of DeVille. So we've kind of played with the idea of having a little bit more nightlife here. But with that being said, we're getting a lot of people coming at 8, 9 o'clock and enjoying some beverages and pizzas late. So I think that's really good. We've actually gotten, what surprised me over this last season so far, starting in the spring, we're starting to get a bunch of people that like live on the base and they're coming as well in droves. And they usually come like 8 or 9 people together, so that's been a lot of fun.
That's got to be really fun serving them too, right?
Yeah.
That's good. Are you guys doing bingos and trivia nights?
Yeah, we do trivia every second and fourth Sunday. We're looking at expanding that to every Sunday because it's starting to catch a little bit of wind. And our bingo is just great. It's almost hard to get a seat unless you come early enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you do bingo upstairs or down here?
Upstairs.
Upstairs.
Yeah.
Okay, so drinking beer, eating pizza, playing bingo.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Good prizes and a $50 gift card for the coverall winner. And we have a great host, not your Nana Bingo, Dustin, who is the sound guy at Mickey Finn's as well. He also does bingo at Fog Cutters, so another popular bingo. But he's a lot of fun, and he has like a saying for each bingo letter, and the crowd like answer it back. And he has one of the funnest thing is when someone wins, everyone in the crowd boos them out of fun, but everyone boos the winner. So that's kind of a popular thing right now, is you get booed when you win.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love to see you smile at that stuff because it's kind of a cool, like if you come in for bingo night, like do you have the same people that come in for bingo most of the time?
A bunch, yeah.
So if I want to come, what time do I got to get here? Steal one of their seats?
Usually like 6 o'clock is the time to come, because it starts at 7, yeah.
And how is, I don't know anybody else doing trivia nights on Sundays. Does that it works,
yeah,
huh?
yeah, it's going pretty well. Yeah, just it's a good day, good family day, right? Most people are off. We do it earlier in the evening so that they can get home and get rest before Monday. So it's a good way to cap off the weekend,
It sounds super fun. So you have all bases covered. Any other kind of entertainment things like that? You have a comedy night here one night too.
We used to do comedy. We haven't done it for a while now. Well, the problem we had with that is there was a lot of more comedians in crowd for that, and it was down here. We tried to do it up front. The jokes got a little too racy for the crowd, so we came down here and.
And hats off to my friends probably telling those jokes.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a real family atmosphere most of the time, right?
We also do an event, I think it's every second Sunday of the month with Diane, Paint by Diane, who's from Round Lake. And we do painting. And this month we started doing other crafts. So she does different crafts. I think they're doing like a sun
decorating.
hat.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Hey, you keep it fresh, right? You keep people coming in and do whatever things. Yeah. All right, so what am I, as we're getting close to wrapping up, like what am I forgetting about? What do you want people to know that they may not know about DeVille here?
That's a good question. I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, you have like this exuberance of like your passion for it and making people are treated right, from the people that work here to the people that walk through the door. So I think that comes across very clearly.
Yeah.
And not every place is like that.
Yeah, I think they would feel the difference in that. Our team is passionate about taking care of people. They love making people smile, and they love the compliments we get about the food and the service. So, yeah, I think that's really great.
Another thing that struck me about you too is that you were checking your phone to see about reviews, right? Because reviews are very important, and people that are out there listening, like I want to make sure, for being a business owner myself for almost 30 years, those reviews mean a lot to us, right?
Absolutely.
And if you have a problem, I always say reach out to the owner first, right? Reach out and see how people will handle it. Like give people, or especially restaurants, an opportunity to make things right.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to make sure everything's perfect for everybody, right? So I urge people to do that. But also, when you have a good experience, write it. It means the world to business owners, right?
Yeah, and I think that in the community in general, or in this industry in general, you hear more about the bad experiences than the good experiences, no doubt.
Hey, every Karen out there, and I'm sorry if your name's Karen, but there are some snarky people out there that are just waiting to voice their opinion about how bad they don't like something, right?
And I wouldn't call them Karens. I think that most people who have something negative to say experience something negative. Something in their perception was off, and that's a learning experience for us.
You're a lot nicer than I am, JR.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But you're right. And to be able to respect that, right?
Absolutely.
Is a big deal, and willing to change, right? And we learn.
100%. Yeah.
So.
And someone's going to we're not perfect, that's for sure. We're going to have our bad days, or distracted days, or the days where I think, sometimes we'll get a pop that we weren't expecting. And I think a couple Sundays ago we had a pop where we had a server call in. So, and we're like, oh, well, the last couple Sunday nights haven't been that busy. And then, bam, we have a full dining room, So, those things happen, and, you're going to get someone's going to have a bad experience in that when you're stretched too thin to really take care of people the way that we normally do,
And sometimes you obviously don't know when a
And
group of 20 is going to walk through the door.
Yeah, yeah. And to be honest, those complaints give us the opportunity to this is how I perceive complaints, is like if that person is saying something, it's because they still care enough to give us the opportunity to fix it and listen to what they had to say about that day. So to me, you look at that and be like, okay, well, I really need to reach out this person and make it right, because if you can win them back and you can give them a great experience that last time, it's even a stronger bond than before. It's not like we want to mess things up, so we get that opportunity, but if you can really identify that you made a mistake and that we could be better and then deliver on that, I think that people respect that as well.
Extremely well said, my friend. That's it, right? And let's end with this. What is your favorite thing to read on your reviews?
Okay, so I'm going to be honest with this, even though
I prefer the rather than lying. Yes.
Yeah. I love it when they say that it was better than it was before. That's my favorite thing to read. Right. So,
well, you have your blood, sweat, and tears in this place, man. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, where everything is phenomenal. And I'm going to tell everybody, if you haven't been to DeVille, get over here. Right on. Okay, explain where we're at, just in case nobody knows.
Right across from Cook Park, just 3 doors south of O'Toole's, almost kitty corner from Mickey Finn's or Conscious Cup Coffee.
Yeah, right on Milwaukee Avenue. You can't miss it once you see it. Like, people are like, I don't know where that is, and then I think because it's been here for so long, it just kind of blends in, right?
Yeah.
Until you see it as something new, or you haven't been here.
And it's a little bit more of a modest front than some of the downtown areas, So I'd say that too. And then I would say the other thing that I want people to know that try to come here is that the parking can be intimidating in Libertyville, and less than like a quarter of a block away is a parking garage with all the parking you want. So.
Yes, and very easy in and out of that parking garage for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because it's something because I know, I take it for granted, right? Which I appreciate you very much, and I appreciate
you
here
as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us again.
Of course. And Lake County, hey, wherever you're at, make sure to do me a favor and subscribe, because every week that you will get to meet a new business owner or something going on in Lake County. And we really appreciate you guys listening, especially the people that you don't know. If you like this episode, share it with somebody. If you haven't been to Pizzeria DeVille, get in here. Seriously, it's a great experience, from the food to the way you're treated, and even whatever's going on entertainment-wise. And if you see the food truck out there, make sure to go try a slice. So, JR, thank you once again. And folks, as we always end, we never know what our friends, our family, or anybody out here is going through. So a simple random act of kindness or two today. Do me a favor. Kindness spreads like wildfire. Whether you open the door for somebody, being nice to the clerk at the dollar store, or just a smile to somebody having a bad day. We never know what's up. So be a good human. All right?
Absolutely.
And Lake County, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.